I would like to thank the chairman and the organizing committee for giving me this opportunity to give a talk today. And my name is Frederick Mashili, and I'm from the Karolinska Institute here in Sweden, and I'm also from the Muhimbili University of Health and Allied Sciences in Tanzania. And today I'm going to talk about the academic and research network between Tanzania and Sweden, and the focus is going to be on the purpose and future prospects. For those of you who attended the seminar when we were celebrating 50 years of Tanzania independence, might recognize some of the slides that I'm using today, but there is some kind of modification. So my presentation today, I will start with the background, and then I will talk a little bit about the current situation, and then move into reflections, and finally talk about future prospects. This is a known situation. This is a known thing, like a very known fact, that research is a resource for development and global positioning. So for any country to develop, research has to be a strategy. But bad news for developing countries is all the indicators show that there is a significant gap in research output between developed and developing countries, meaning that very little research is being done in developing countries, or I can say maybe not enough research is being done in developing countries. And due to that, the gap between the demand for and the supply of scientifically based knowledge relating to country-specific knowledge and needs in developing countries is huge. This gap is really big because very little research is being done, and the little research that is being done is not being translated into information or into knowledge and practice. So you can see how big this problem is. What do we need to do then? I mean, what are we supposed to do? We need to learn from developed world through collaborations and networks. But what does this mean? Obviously, developing countries need to have resources to own and conduct their own research. This is very important. And the reason for this is it's quite important to produce country-specific research that will help to solve country-specific problems. Of course, one can say that results that have been generated in Sweden can be generalized and be applied in Tanzania, but this is not always the case because there are so many differences in terms of culture, in terms of weather, and so many things which make it important for a country to produce its own results. So the Swedish government, through its international cooperation agencies like SIDA and NIA, was motivated to set up cooperation with developing countries like Tanzania in order to help to improve the research output in these countries. And since then, we have seen a lot of improvements in terms of research and education. For instance, in Tanzania, SIDA provides full scholarships to a significant number of master students from Tanzania that get admitted at Swedish University, which is a very good thing. We have seen this happening, and the number is actually increasing. And also the Swedish government is also sponsoring a number of education programs in Tanzania. For instance, there is a program or a project in ICT learning in primary and secondary school that is being funded by SIDA, which is very important. And what is happening is SIDA is acting as a bridge or a link in terms of funding mainly between the Tanzanian universities and Swedish universities, which is a very good thing. So you can see that developing country universities are collaborating with the developed country universities, and this will help in improving the research output in developing country. So far, so good. But always we are looking for improvements. And if we are looking for improvements, we need to ask ourselves some of the challenges or some of the questions that are not well answered. So here are the questions that we really need to reflect and think about. How much of the research is being translated into policy, knowledge, and practice? And how many patents and the copyrights that comes out of this research that we are doing? So we really need to think about this critically. And what percentage of Tanzanian scholars are able to practically apply what they acquire abroad when they go back home? When we come here, we get introduced into high technology research methodology. So then one should think like, how much of this am I going to apply when I go back home? And how is the rate of research growth? Is it very slow, or fast? We need to think about this. And when we think about it, then we think about how to improve. And finally, are the young emerging researchers really supported in Tanzania? Because the young generation is the future generation, so it's quite important to make sure that they are well supported. So as we have seen, SIDA was acting as a bridge or a link, but mainly in terms of funding. So there was no central body that connects, or there was no any kind of or any other network that connects all the researchers involved in the collaboration. And what we could see was something like this. Like you have Swedish universities here, and then you have Tanzanian universities here. And you will have collaboration, let's say, between a researcher in Umeå University that is collaborating with another researcher in the University of Dar es Salaam. And probably you might have a researcher at the Karolinska Institute that is collaborating with another researcher at the Muhimbili University, and so on. But one thing that was lacking was a common ground for all these researchers, where they can share ideas, they can share experience, and to have just a common ground to discuss and to try to improve their research. So one of the aim of this network is actually to do something like this, to bring together all these researchers and to have a common ground where different discussions can take place in trying to improve some of the issues that arose in the previous slides. So through this kind of network, some of those issues can be addressed and improvements can be made. So what are the future prospects? Of course, we talk about translation of research into policy and practice. This should be a priority. This is a very important thing because somehow research is being done, but very little is being translated into knowledge and practice. And this is the time now we need to communicate science to our people so that they also benefit from what we are doing. And another thing, funding and support should encourage innovations. Like we should think about things that are innovative. These are very important in development of any particular country. And also, new skills and knowledge acquired from abroad should be supported. We should not let them just pass by, because someone comes here, spend 4 years, and then they go back home, they end up not applying what they have been doing for the past 4 years, which is not good. This is just wastage of time and wastage of resources. And also, new areas of research should be equally supported. We should remember that we live in a dynamic world, and diseases, for example, they are always changing. So we should always think about supporting new areas of research. And also, young researchers should be well supported, because these are the coming generation, and this is very important. So, one of the function or one of the purpose of this network, of course, will be to organize frequent joint seminars between collaborating institutions through a network of Swedish and Tanzanian researchers. And in these kind of seminars, we will have discussions on how to improve what I just said in the previous slide, because this will be a common ground where these researchers will be meeting frequently and then sharing experience and talking about how to improve all those aspects. What have we done so far? I mean, as far as the network is concerned, what we have done so far, we have tried to contact all the researchers that are involved in the collaboration to see what are their views and comments about the network, and also we plan to set up seminar. So as far as the response from these researchers is concerned, a lot of them responded positively. Like 90% of the researchers that I contacted, because I was dealing with the Tanzanian researchers, and 90% of them responded positively, and they were very keen to be part of this network, and they are looking forward to see more activities from this network. So thank you very much for listening, and special thanks to Josephine, of course, for introducing me into this network. And I would also like to thank Johan for inviting me to give this presentation today. Thank you very much.